get on to our motor. First thing, like I said, this block was fresh from the machine shop. It had a valve lap, or I don't know if it had the valves lapped or even touched, but I do know that they had a fresh hone put in it. But one of the things I wanted to make sure you point out is don't take anything for granted. Just because it came from a machine shop doesn't mean that it's clean and ready to go back together. Because as you can see, if I come in here, I can still feel, I don't know if you can see that, quite a bit of, aluminum flash and everything in the block. So I'm going to want to make sure I clean all that out before we go ahead with the, putting any parts in this. And also, you want to make sure that the bore is clean. And the best way I found to, or was taught to clean the bore, was to just take some transmission fluid. Any type of transmission fluid you have laying around at work, just make sure that it's not used transmission fluid and it's, new. Take a white paper towel and fold it over so where you can actually get it in there. Put a little bit on the, and just go in here, wipe the bore down. And you can see all that black or gray, that's all, dust from the honing stones that have, wasn't thoroughly cleaned out. So you're going to want to do this until, keep wiping it down around inside until you come to the point where, you're not seeing any of that on the block. Just it should only take a few times, but like I said, you're going to want to make sure you get everywhere around inside, and all the way down to the bottom. Then we'll come to a, fresh section of paper towel here. The other thing cleaning it this way will do is make sure that your bore job is actually, freshly, nicely oiled, so that you're not running the risk of having your bore actually, rust up on you. You always want to make sure, anytime if you do go through and clean anything, either with a water-based cleaner or using brake cleaner, acetone, or what have you, that you make sure that you get some oil down in that hump, in that bore. As you can see, it's definitely getting lighter, and we're not picking up as much honing stone dust from inside the crevices, micro pores and everything inside the sleeve. I will say that the shop that did the machine work did a pretty good job of cleaning out, and getting all the honing dust out of the block. But as you can see, there, unless you actually go through and do it like this, I found that you can always find some, regardless of how many times you put it through the hot tank or parts washer. You can see now we're not getting anything at all. Give it one more final check. You know, and I like using a white paper towel for this because that way you can really see. You know, if you got all the dust out, it just tends to show up better than if you're using a blue shop towel. There, as you can see, you know, we got all the honing dust out. So I'm going to take this over to the parts washer. I'm going to clean all the rest of the debris out of the bottom of the block, make sure that the block is ready to go back together before we start anything else. Alright, now we got the block all cleaned up. As you can see, you know, got all the debris out of it, and it's ready for start mocking up for clearencing in the cam and the crankshaft. And actually it's clean enough to do final assembly, but we're a long ways to go from there. I wanted to pause right here to let you guys know how I get the bearings out, and that's with one of these inside ID grabbing pliers. These are made by Wild. I actually picked these up at a swap meet, but as you can see, you know, get a close up here. They're knurled on, you know, the outer edge, and when you squeeze them, they open up to be able to get in here and grab the inside diameter, and it makes for you know, real easy removal of. See if I can do this while still getting it on camera. You know, be able to just reach in there and pull the bearing out. Sometimes that bearing is getting replaced, so you know, it's a little rough. We're replacing all the bearings in this motor at this time. If you do find yourself in a position where, you know, you're having a hard time getting the bearing out, just run the block or the side cover, wherever, you know, whichever bearings you're doing. Just run it under some really hot tap water, and that'll allow the aluminum to expand enough to let go of its hold on the bearing, and it'll make it for a lot easier removal. You know, but the procedure is the same whether you have a dual bearing block, where, you know, this is obviously just a bushed block, so we have, you know, a bushing here where the cam rides. A lot of the later model aftermarket blocks will actually be a dual bearing block, where you'll have another cam bearing over here, just the same as you do in the side cover, and obviously another crank bearing. And I just wanted to, you know, pause for a second and demonstrate that for you. Alright, now that we got the bearing out, we are ready to take out, you know, the flywheel side oil seal. Trying to remember how I used to do this. That's right. You take small. I think this is a 1.5 inch PVC coupler. I use it just to use it in a piece of wood to support the block. Take a long flathead screwdriver, try and get down past the bore and into the seal, and just tap it out. I try not to move everything. And there it goes. It doesn't take a whole lot. We can take clean out a little bit of this. And to replace it, just I don't know if you can see the part number. It's just a factory Briggs part. You probably pick this up locally. If you run into, because there've been a couple times where I've messed the seal up. Especially when I was first starting out. Learning how to do this. Just about any lawnmower repair shop should be able to get this and the seal on the other side. On the flywheel or on the PTO side. In the side cover. Let's line it up. That's the right size? No, that's a little small. Alright, now to install it, we're going to just place the seal in place. I have here is, just a 1 1/8 inch socket that's just a, it's a 1/2 inch drive. It's just a little bit larger in diameter. Because I'm using one of my sockets, I'm going to use a brass hammer to tap this down in. Obviously, if you have a bearing and seal installing tool, you'd probably want to use that. Or even a flat piece of wood, but I find the wood doesn't, quite, it has more of a tendency to distort the seal than something solid like the butt end of a socket. So we'll just tap this down till it's flush. Working around it. And you can hear the pitch change. A little bit of the outer gasket of the seal coming off, but you can hear the pitch change when you actually got it seated. And that's all there is to installing a seal. Alright, now we're ready to go ahead and install the flywheel side crankshaft bearing. Make sure when you're doing this you get the right bearing, because these two bearings are different between the crankshaft or the flywheel and the PTO or the side cover side. The side cover side of the bearing, the inside diameter here is a little bit larger. But here, I'm going to be using Rotella. It's actually a Rotella diesel oil. Just because it has a high zinc content, and I use that for all my break-in motors, even on the big car and the juniors. But I also use it to lightly lube up everything that doesn't require assembly lube. Just to help everything go into place a little easier. And the bearing should not require any force or effort. Once you get it lined up properly, so that it's not cocked, it should just slide right down into place. There we go. See, no effort, no forcing. Once you actually get it, it'll just fall right down in there. If you try and force it, you run the risk of chewing up or causing a nick or burr on the aluminum where it rises in, and then it'll really play heck to get it out. But while you got the oil on your fingers, it's a good time to rub a little on the inside of the bearing race where the crank is going to slide, and we'll just reach in through it, all the way through, and just pre-lube the oil seal a little bit. Just so we make sure, just in case, so we don't forget, and make sure that we don't put anything together dry. We put it, especially on the oil seal, if we put that together dry, there's a good chance that it could come, grab the crank and tear up a little bit and cause a leak later on down the road.